It's time now for the very final session of the networking and brokerage event. So if you want to come in and take a seat, and of course a warm welcome back to the people following us online as well. We're going to move now to the pitches on the two-stage topics, which we have today. So we're starting with the topics, the pitches, on the topic, the cardiovascular diseases topic, improved prediction, prevention, diagnosis, and monitoring. Just in case any of you weren't in the room when we started the first pitches, you have 3 minutes. There is a timer here in the middle of the stage. There's another little one just in front of the lectern there. Please pay attention to it and respect the time, although we actually have plenty of time now. But please respect the time. And I would like to invite Tim Delany of Metabolon up to give the first pitch, please.
Hello all. Good to see some familiar faces. Our positive previous experience with the IMI Sophia has brought me here today to talk about Metabolon. Metabolon is the leader in high throughput metabolomic sequencing and interpretation since the year 2000. We've developed an efficient process to identify and measure metabolites in biological samples, whether it be the usual suspects of plasma and serum, feces, CSF, tissue, or if you're feeling adventurous, dinosaur bone. We believe that metabolites are the surrogate of the phenotype, positioned at the intersection between the central dogma of genomics and proteomics, etc., but also the environment, accounting for the microbiome, xenobiotics, and the exposome. We help researchers to account for the complex biological interactions and target challenges in translational research, such as patient stratification, biomarker discovery, and the response to therapeutics, with the overall goal of achieving personalized medicine. We have the world's largest library of metabolites, with around 5,400 of them, and we profile around 300,000 samples a year. Our unmatched expertise and institutional knowledge is embraced by a wide range of pharmaceutical, biotechnology, agricultural, and food companies, as well, of course, as academia. We're interested in joining the cardiovascular disease call, where we believe we can add value to the prediction, prevention, diagnosis, and monitoring of cardiovascular diseases. Our experience in studies such as MetSim aligns quite closely with the focus of this call, leading to earlier diagnosis of cardiovascular diseases, better understanding of the mechanisms involved, and as a result, identification of new care pathways. One key success story is from our work with King's College London, whereby a genotype, SLC01B1, was found to be associated with hypertension, but the underlying mechanism was unknown. Our work led to the profiling of the complex biological interactions and the underlying biology, identifying a new novel target metabolite, hexadecanioate, which is causal for hypertension. We believe we can achieve similar success stories in this IHI call also. Please reach out to me if interested in discussing further. I'll be happy to chat. Looking forward to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And the next person on my list is Caroline Desvergne from CEA.
Hello everybody, so I'm Caroline Desvergne and I represent CEA Leti, the French research and technology organization specializing in electronics and smart systems. So for the call on cardiovascular disease, we would like to contribute as a partner and offer the solution from our internal program dedicated to wearables for chronic disease monitoring and prevention. So we target hypertension pathology management with blood pressure monitoring in association with other markers such as heart rate variability and stress. The device we develop will be compact, conformable, cuffless, easy to use, while providing robustness and reliability. This is indeed the main challenge that wearables are currently facing, Either they are of medical grade but obtrusive, or they are user-friendly but do not provide robust medical data. So how do we reach this goal? Our device has three main assets. It will combine optical, electrical, and ultrasound modalities in a matrix of sensors. It will use a physiological and personalized model, and it will integrate advanced skin sensors interfaces. Moreover, we envision a specific closed-loop algorithm to provide a real-time cognitive management support and allow the patient to manage their health actively. So the device is going to enter very soon a first clinical trial on healthy volunteers to acquire a first multimodal database that will be key to enhance the algorithm and move towards a fully integrated systems. So how can we contribute to IHI? As requested by the call, we can bring our progress and expertise for the collection of prospective data to support the use of the next generation of wearables in the early diagnosis and managing of patients with CVD. And we have also the experience of diabetes physiological models and closed-loop systems that we gained through the development of the Diaboloop device. Finally, we are connected to a network of key scientific and clinical experts in cardiology in France. So thank you for your attention. You can contact me through the marketplace, and I would be very pleased to provide you more detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. And the next speaker on my list is Segolene Martin of Kantify. Segolene here. Not at the moment, but we'll keep a spot for her later maybe. Next person then is Tuomas Valtonen from the University of Turku. Okay. The floor is yours.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Tuomas Valtonen from the University of Turku. Would you spend 1 minute of your life doing something that could save your life? Imagine if we had a world where every smartphone user, millions of users, could take a 1-minute measurement, lie down, and the smartphone would be able to tell them not only the vital signs like heart rate or heart rate variability, but also digital biomarkers. For instance, if they have indication of heart failure, coronary artery disease, atrial fibrillation, and so on. We've been working at the University of Turku for over 11 years on measuring with a smartphone the micromotions of the chest. We started with accelerometers using microelectromechanical MEMS sensors, so we could measure how the chest moves. Over time, we noticed also that the rotation of the heart also makes the chest rotate, so we started using gyroscopes. We call that gyrocardiography. So basically, if you think of the heart, over half of the energy comes from the rotation. So it's not only squeezing, it's also turning. So over time, we've been having a lot of clinical trials, over 1,000 patients. We filed for a number of patents, and we started a startup, a spin-off SME called Precordior. And together we have over 50 people working there nowadays, and we work in the clinical work. We do data analysis and develop AI-based algorithms for detection of these diseases. So basically, today we're just looking for a consortium that would benefit from our expertise and would be happy to participate in a project in this area. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker on my list is Davide Agnoletti from the University of Bologna. Is David here? No sign yet. And then I will move on to Femke Wouters from Limberg Clinical Research Centre. Who is here? Excellent.
One out of 3 stroke patients have no determined cause of the stroke when they leave the hospital. If we do look further in these patients and we monitor their heart rate for more than 3 years using an invasive implantable cardiac device, we can detect atrial fibrillation in another 30% of these patients. If we can predict which patient has the highest risk of this heart rhythm disorder, then we can select those patients who are of the highest need to receive this invasive implantable cardiac monitor, whereas for the other patients who are low risk, it might be sufficient to monitor them non-invasively using, for example, mobile health or digital health solutions. My name is Femke Wouters. I'm a PhD student in the Limberg Clinical Research Center. This is the academic clinical research center of Hasselt University, together with 2 regional hospitals in Limburg. Together with several hospitals in Belgium, we have the intention to work together in a large clinical trial. We are looking for partners, both hospitals, but also organizations that specialize in artificial intelligence. This is because we aim to improve the detection or the prediction of the detection of atrial fibrillation in these cryptogenic stroke patients. We want to develop a risk stratification score that will divide these cryptogenic stroke patients into those who have a high risk of developing atrial fibrillation and those with a low risk. As such, a more personalized approach can be chosen to detect or to make optimal use of the healthcare budget to detect this atrial fibrillation in these patients. If you are interested to join our consortium, please feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to see, again, apparently my colleagues are trying to track down Segolene and Davide. I don't know if either of them are in the room. Segolene Martin? No. Davide Agnoletti? Okay, well, hopefully we'll be able to find them shortly. Just to add as well, of course, if you're interested in this topic on cardiovascular diseases, the webinar on the topic will be on the 22nd of June at 2:30 in the afternoon. Again, I'd really encourage you to register for that. So while we're looking for the last 2 speakers from that topic, we can maybe move on to the very last topic of the day, which is, of course, the one on setting a harmonized methodology to promote uptake of early feasibility studies for clinical and innovation excellence. And there we just have one speaker who I hope is in the room, Donato Bonifazi. Is Donato in the room? Ah, hurrah. Okay, the floor is yours. You can take your time and I'm not going to make people sprint up to the podium. You can take your pitch from the podium there, from the lectern.
So I can start.
You okay? Okay, go.
Hello, everybody. I'm Donato Bonifazi. I am an economist by training, and I am the CEO of a non-profit research consortium based in Italy, which is involved in several initiatives and projects on pediatric research. This is quite a neglected topic, in my opinion, so we aim to see specific calls for pediatric research soon, and we are aware that in several of these calls, topics, and initiatives, usually the focus is a global one, but often the pediatric specificities are not enough considered. So we would really like to partnering with some of you to propose a new methodologies which takes care also of the pediatric research needs. So the project that I am presenting is EPTRI, which stands for European Pediatric Translational Research Infrastructure, which is composed of 114 research organizations from 26 European and also not members of the European Union countries, aimed at facilitating basic preclinical and translational research in pediatric medicines and devices, discovery and development, providing access to key technologies, standardized models and analytical tools, and expertise specifically implemented for or adapted to the pediatric setting. So this was an initiative started in 2018 after a previous involvement in the built up of networks for pediatric research and also conduction of pediatric multinational clinical trials. And it was an initiative proposed and funded by the European Commission under the Horizon 2020, aimed at designing the framework for this new research infrastructure, which will put together all the expertise and facilities in different thematic research platforms that are the pediatric medicine discovery, the pediatric biomarkers and biosamples, the developmental pharmacology, the pediatric medicines formulations, and the pediatric medical devices. So these are several research areas which are all needed to discover and develop a new drugs or a new devices to be used specifically in children and also in the different ages of children. So, you know, there are issues with the ontogeny, the metabolism, the organism, which is evolving, which is developing during the pediatric age, and which call for different medicines and devices, because of course the ones that are developed for adults are usually not the right one also for children, and also for children of different ages. So you can think about neonates to children to adolescents, but also studies in the placental domain, which is before the birth. So EPTRI could provide access to pediatric subjects samples and data with the relevant ethical and regulatory specific expertise, thanks to the previous experiences within its founding member, TEDI, the European Network of Excellence for Pediatric Research. All the activities performed for adult subjects needs to be adapted for size and physiology to children. Plus, in the case of wearable devices, a distinct design may be also needed. So we think that also in this call, some specific pediatric use cases should be added. And in our opinion, the presence of EPTRI in any given consortium would provide expertise and knowledge targeted to children. Thus, the proposed methodology can include pediatric specificities since its inception, with no need to be adapted in the future. So in this case, try to develop a model for early feasibility studies in medical devices, which are good both for children and adults. And so for us, it is strategically relevant if EPTRI could join a consortium and contribute to the development of a standardized framework for the successful initiation and conduction of early feasibility studies in Europe. I was prepared for 3 minutes. I think they were already maybe 5 or 4, I don't know.
That's okay.
So I don't know how can it go on. Maybe if someone from the audience is
So, I mean, the people know you now. They've seen you. I think they've heard a little bit of what you are offering, what you're looking for. So the next step is to get networking.
Okay.
with those people.
So no, because someone told me 40 minutes, but I don't know. Maybe
No. These are 3-minute pictures here.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, now you all know Donato, so if you want to get involved with him for your consortium, get in touch with him.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to check. Do we have Segolene Martin or David Agnoletti in the room? Oh, you're both here. So maybe we'll start with Segolene, just because you're first in my list as it is. But we'll come to you as well, David. Thank you for waving at me as well, by the way, because my colleagues upstairs were looking for you. And well, for both of you, but we found you, so you're here. Excellent. Okay, you can go ahead and make your pitch.
Hi everyone, and congrats to those of you who have stayed until the end because it has been a long day. I'm Segolene Martin, I'm the CEO of Kantify, and I'm here because we are a startup, we are specialized in artificial intelligence for health. And so we are interested potentially of discussing being partners in consortium, and here is what we can bring. So basically we have expertise in the field of developing predictive models for atrial fibrillation, diagnosis, prediction, for the diagnosis and prediction as well of heart failure. So this is something we have already done. And our expertise lies not only in the algorithmic part, but also in setting up all what usually people tend to forget about, which is the database comprising of data, depending on the data you are considering to collect, because you need to select the data, you need to curate the data, you need to ensure the data can be understood by a model. And also setting up the software solution. So if the model, for example, a prediction model has to be put into production, this is a reliable model, this is an explainable model, and so on. So this is what we can bring. It's very AI and data specific. And I decided to apply for the pitch today because we have a special expertise in cardiovascular diseases. Apart from that, for those of you who are also active in other calls, we have technology using artificial intelligence to discover specific therapies, small molecules for undrugged targets. So if some of you are working on projects on novel therapies involving small molecules, it can be interesting to speak together because this is drug discovery, but this is also something we can do with excellent results, so quite exciting field as well. So I guess the slot is over. Thank you for your attention and wish you a very good end of the day.
Thank you very much, Segolene. And last but certainly by no means least, we have David Agnoletti from the University of Bologna. And again, this is a pitch again on the cardiovascular diseases topic. So David, over to you.
Hello to everybody, good evening. Thank you to be here. And I'm Dr. Davide Agnoletti, assistant professor at the University of Bologna, Italy. And my research group is on the topic of cardiovascular disease. And we are a partner looking for a consortium. My research group is composed by 3 universities in Italy, Sassari, Trieste, and Bologna. And we will bring to the consortium some skills and expertise in advanced cardiovascular assessment from cardiac and vascular ultrasound to non-invasive assessment of the arterial tree function and structure by means of arterial stiffness and endothelial function measurement. We are studying the gut microbiota from the next generation sequencing to the metagenomics and metabolomics. We are studying machine learning and artificial intelligence models for analysis from imaging studies. And we have 2 large ongoing prospective population studies involving more than 5,000 enrolled subjects with vascular assessment and genetic sequencing. Our involvement in the project would be an advantage because we are working on cardiovascular assessment and prevention for 50 years with more than 200 publications in the field in the last 5 years. we are developing and modeling a global risk score for detection of cardiovascular events before any clinical manifestations. We are developing a study for the relationship between the exercise training and the gut microbiota and the vascular function and structure. This would allow to investigate the pathways linked to inflammation and oxidative stress, which eventually modulate the risk of cardiovascular events. We are using radiomics models to investigate the risk of coronary heart event in patients from standard CT scan. And we are developing a new risk score for the prediction of preeclampsia in the first trimester of pregnancy based on vascular and biological assessment. Finally, we are part of the Cost Action Vascage Net, a research network on vascular aging, involving almost 200 institutions all over the globe, with the scope of promote, refine, and harmonize the use of vascular aging measures in clinical practice in order to improve clinical practice and to reduce the burden of cardiovascular disease globally. So here we are, and our expertise, I hope we will find some partners and coordinators. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, and 3 minutes exactly, so it's nice that the last pitch was perfectly on time. So that brings us to the end of the pitches. So thank you to everyone who gave a pitch, and well done. I know it's not always easy to sum up in 3 minutes who you are and what you want. So I think summing up today, for the few of you who are still here, I think the main message is to take the time to read and learn about IHI. It's a new organization. It's not just a straight continuation of IMI. It's new. There's a lot of things that are different, that have changed. We're learning ourselves in the office, so take the time to read, learn by signing up for the webinars, following the webinars that have already taken place. Network, again, we have this 45% rule here in IHI, which is also new, so get networking, really invest time in it. Don't sit and wait for people to come to you, go out there and approach people. And of course, if anything isn't clear, and again, because it's new, things might not be clear, don't hesitate to ask questions as well. You can always write to us at infodesk@ihi.europa.eu. and we'll be happy to help you. So I would just like to close with some notes of thanks. Firstly, to my colleagues in the communications team who have been sitting up there for most of the time. You can't see them, but Tom, Iris, and Sergio have put a lot of work into this event over the last few months. So thank you to them. Thank you as well to our science. Yeah, big round of applause to them up there. Thank you as well to our colleagues in the science and the legal and the finance teams who've also been providing a lot of information, who've presented their topics, answered lots of questions, and will continue to answer questions over the coming months. Thank you to the people at VO, the event support organization we've been working with, to the team at OnScreen, who have been made sure that you can see and hear us all day. Merci beaucoup. And finally, thank you to all of you for coming, for your interest, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you, everyone.